So this is a place that contains dark rooms and crowded with dozens of people. As the lights dim down, there are flashes of moving images shown onto the screen. So for more than a century, movie theaters have been providing the entertainment of motion pictures to the public. And many of you here may have been to a movie theater before, but do you know how movie theaters became part of our community? As for me, I've been going to the movie theaters for a long time to watch the biggest blockbuster hits with my family and my friends, from Toy Story to Deadpool. So by informing you on the origins of movie theaters, you will get a better understanding on how movie theaters became part of our community today. So the main points of this speech will cover how movie theaters started, how movie theaters changed throughout time, and finally how movie theaters are in today's society. Now I'll tell you how movie theaters started, and it began by one theater called the Nickelodeon. So on November 15, 1919, the Dispatch published an article how Pittsburgh gave birth to the movie theater idea by E.W. Leitner, who lived through the era of the original movie theater. And he talks about in his article that in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, on June 19, 1905, the first movie theater in the world has opened. And it was created by Harry Davis and John P. Harris. And so by moving 96 seats inside a small store on Smithville Street, it was the grand opening of the Nickelodeon Theater. And they only showed 2 movies, and they would charge 5 cents per ticket. The reason why it's called the Nickelodeon, because they only charge a nickel to watch a movie. And so the theater opened from 8 in the morning to midnight, and there was an average of 7,000 people who came to the grand opening. And soon this was known to be as the theater for the people. The article even explained that the expansion of movie theater was caused by the Nickelodeon's success in financial and profitable business, that people were influenced to start their own movie theater business. And so this was known as the Nickelodeon era, where everybody had their own projectors and they turned their stores into theaters. And by 1910, there were 20,000 theaters across America. And these theaters would always be filled with people who were attentive to experience motion pictures. Now I told you how movie theaters started. I will now tell you how movie theaters changed throughout time. So in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, there are some theaters from the Nickelodeon era that still operates today. However, they did change a lot of their features, and that is what Janice Crompton, reporter of Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, noticed in her home state. So in Janice Crompton's article, How Movie Theaters Are Changing with the Times, she talked about the different features in movie theaters, and this was published by the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette on July 10, 2014. And so in the 20th century, movie theaters, they could only fit 90 or people less in a theater room. They had real films and no armchairs. But as of now, movie theaters have like these huge stadium-style rooms, more cushions and cup holders. And but there's some movie theaters that are advancing their styles. For instance, in Brett Brown's theater, Latitude 360, it's transformed into like a dine-in setting where people could enjoy a movie and a dinner special. And so movie theaters are not only transforming to look more modern, but they're transforming to look more entertaining. And besides appearances, technology is another major change for movie theaters to go from reels to digital, according to how technology is changing in the movie theater business, by David Hancock, who is a senior expert on cinema sectors and global films. And this was published by the IHS Technology press release on June 8, 2012. So David Hancock talks about like when The Hobbit was first released, it was one of the first to be shown in HD. And so this was a turning point for movie theaters to get new digital projectors in order to support films' higher frame rates. And so by 2011, there were 64,000 theaters across the globe that were changing their style to digital cinema. And you know, with technology, it really helped movie theaters to project movies in a more realistic way through HD, 3D, and surround sounds. And it really helped their business in order to attract more customers who wanted to watch movies in a whole new perspective. Now I told you how movie theaters change throughout time. I will now tell you how movie theaters are in today's society. So Netflix, Hulu, and the internet are encouraging people to stay home because it's cheaper and convenient, according to How to Get More People into Movie Theaters Without Higher Ticket Prices by Dorothy Pomerantz, who is an author of A Business of Hollywood, and this was published by Forbes magazine on September 30, 2014. And she talks about like people don't go to the movies as much is because of the issue of ticket prices. I mean, we used to pay a nickel, but now we pay like $12. And it's because movie theaters have new installments of IMAX and 3D and need a profit. However, there are some theaters that are trying to become more experienced. For instance, in LA Regal Cinema, they introduced a new 4DX simulator ride where the seats are moving along to the movie, and and some other theaters offer blankets, food, and comfortable seating. Because as of now, movie theaters, their goal is to not only offer a seat at the movie theater, but to offer a more worthwhile experience. But the world of cinema isn't going extinct because there are some people who still love going to the movie theaters. According to All Around the World, people still love going to movie theaters by Chris Dodd, who is a CEO of the Motion Picture Association of America, which is published by that company on March 25th, 2014. And Chris Dodd reports in the 2013 Theoretical Market Statistic Report that in their global box office, they made $36 billion. And that's a really big record for them. And it's because a lot of their consumers are from very large, diverse areas like America or Canada. And it's also because a lot of people know movie theaters welcome all minorities. And so this really shows that the theater is a place for all people. Now I've told you how movie theaters are in today's society. I will now conclude my speech. So by informing you on the evolutions of movie theaters, you got a better understanding on how movie theaters develop in our world today. I've told you how movie theaters started, how movie theaters changed throughout time, and how movie theaters function in today's society. Even though movie theaters are changing a lot of their appearances, their main purpose will never change, which is that in every movie theater, it is an oasis where people could escape the realities of daily life and embark on a visual journey onto the big screen. Thank you.